Hello and welcome to another video. Now this one's going to be slightly different to usual because what I'm looking at here is a question that came up from last night's Excel meetup group. So this is a London Excel meetup group, and the question came from Chris, nothing to do with the actual presentation itself, but what he's saying is that he has sales data and he has various dates that he wants to group by, but he has custom accounting periods. Now the accounting period runs from the 16th of a month until the 15th of next month, and I'm going to make an assumption that my first accounting period starts in December, so we'll start on the 16th of December and run through to the 15th of January, and that will be my accounting period 1. I'll talk about how that will make a difference later on. So Chris wants to know how to do it. Let's have a look. So back here in Excel, I've got a bunch of dates down there, just random dates and some sales data. And what I've done here is I've actually put in some helper columns. So I'll just unhide them and talk through what I've done. Now what I've done here is a simple if statement to work out what I'm calling a month offset. So if the day component of that date is greater than 15, then I want my offset to be 1 because it then goes into the following AP. If it's 15 or below, then I want it to be 0. So my offset will be 0. Now what this gives me is something I can then use in my AP column, which then works out what accounting period that date is in. And I simply take the month component of that date and I add it to my offset. And I've also then taken the year component of that date. Now the reason I've done that is because in my pivot table, I can then bring down into my rows, I can bring down the year component and my AP, and that will give me exactly what you want. So it's now grouped by year and then by the APs within those years. Now, just to show you why this is needed, if you don't do that, if you simply drag the date component down into rows, it applies some automatic grouping. So this instance, it's grouped by year and then by quarter and then by month within the quarter. This can be changed on the Analyze ribbon of the pivot table, and you can look at the grouping section here. So if I go down to group, I can choose what it's grouped by, but these are all tied in with calendar times and not with custom APs. So if you want to use a custom accounting period, you probably need to set up some helper columns as I've done here, but you can then drag the year component and the accounting period or the AP component down into your data in the pivot table, so you can then see the actual groupings. Okay, Chris, I hope that answered your question. Okay, so hello again, and big prize to anybody who spotted the deliberate mistake in what I've just done. Now, as it stands, it's not going to work because what I had my month offset, and that gave us our accounting periods. But if you scroll down to December, then the 20th of December should be in AP1. Now, if you ran it like I showed you, this would have come up showing 13 because it would have been the actual month offset of 1 plus my 12 from December. Now, what we actually have to do is we have to change the formula here. So the formula again has an if in it, and it says if the month component of that plus the 1 gives me a 13, then I want it to be a 1. Otherwise, I want it to be the month component plus the offset. So that's the first thing we then need to do, and of course then we need to change our year column because this then becomes our AP year rather than our calendar year, and that is the year from this and the offset. Now it doesn't affect most of the records, and this is why you may miss it. In fact, in my random data set it only actually affects a single record, but it would be incredibly important. For example, if you were working with a store that did a majority of its sales around Christmas time, all of those sales would now be recorded in the incorrect year. So do just check this, make sure you've got it right, as I did. Okay. Of course, once more, thank you for listening.